Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Catch the Fuck Up. I'm Fern.
And I'm Nicole.
And today we are looking at chapter 346. The title is very silly. It's super hyper unfair broken stage. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, I had to take like a 5-second pause to just absorb that title because I don't know if it's supposed to be ridiculous or if it's just like a weird translation thing, but it's ridiculous.
I mean, to be fair, the thing they spend the entire chapter describing is also very ridiculous. So I guess it fits.
Yeah, we are. This chapter is in Sky High, which someone on the internet pointed out. It's like basically the floating city that we both kind of hate so much is just Sky High in another font.
I appreciate it slightly more now, but it's still so silly to look at.
It is silly, but also, as we will find out, it is a really good idea. All right. So, shall we just dive right in?
Let's go for it.
All right. So we are starting off with the battle against Shigaraki. And we stay here the entire chapter. So just to start it off with the folks that are there to fight Shigaraki, we have Tamaki and Nejire. Awesome. Yes.
Yee.
We have Bakugo, obviously. We were supposed to have Deku, but we don't. We also, spoilers, don't know what's going on with him yet. It's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'm very upset. I just want to stomp my little feet and be like, give me Toga.
Yep. But we have to start with Shigaraki. And also in that same little group, we have Edshot and we have Mirko. So I'm assuming like these were the big, supposed to be 6, now it's 5 who were like specially chosen to fight Shigaraki and his quirk.
They're all incredibly high ranking, including the students.
Yep, exactly. And they're all like able to stay more or less airborne. So that
good point.
Yeah, that helps in case he like succeeds in getting his decay through the ground, but so they can just jump.
That makes sense. Also, just wanted to note real quick, both Mirko and Nejire have short hair and their haircuts are very cute.
Yeah, they're cute, but also their haircuts were forced upon them in the last war. So
yes, but they're making it work for them. And I appreciate their gumption.
Yes, they are awesome. Their hair is wonderful, no matter the form. All right. So we also have BJ there. And I do want to point out that Best Jeanist's neck belt buckle. I
says BJ.
God, this man, why does he have a neck belt buckle? I can't handle him. Yeah, his neck buckle says BJ, and I guess blowjob does not come into play as much in a Japanese writing room. Okay.
They must they must not have connected the spelling.
Y'all, yeah, okay. So it has been acknowledged and we're just gonna move right along. So we're going through, all of them are like upset that Izuku's not there, like especially Tamaki. He's like, shit.
Yeah.
But then they kind of rally and they're like, okay, we can at least fight while somebody else figures out what the hell is going on.
Yeah, and classic Mirko is like, who cares? Let's fight.
Who cares? I'm gonna punch him. She's awesome. So he turned the page and they're all essentially flying towards Shigaraki, who is exhibiting very big, like, I don't want to say angel vibes, but that's kind of the vibe I got because he doesn't have like pupils or anything. He's kind of just...
Yeah, it's a little fallen angel, and this whole chapter, I'm not entirely sure who is even in his head at the moment. So
yeah, exactly. It's just like this vibe of something not quite human going on with him. So through his dialogue, we find out that he's in the sky, but also none of the other villains were transported to the Sky High arena thing. So it's basically everyone is there just to beat Shigaraki. And also in like the very last panel on that page, he says, and hey, don't take over my brain this time, me.
Yeah. And I was like, is that like the weird all for one implant talking to actual Shiggy?
Or is it Shiggy talking to AFO, or is it Shiggy talking to himself, which has bonded with AFO? It's like,
I think AFO is in there somewhere because his dialogue later is very not Shiggy.
yeah, it's really unclear who's talking, and I think that is actually the point. Like, we don't
Mhm.
know what's going on in Shiggy's head right now, and as it plays out, what is going on in his head is, I think, is going to be a big part of how the battle goes eventually.
I think so, yeah.
So we move forward. Shiggy lands and does a decay, and then before he can really decay much, he's shot up into the air again, which
Mhm.
finally somebody gets it, get him off the ground. So we basically just keep turning the page. Right now, the panels are moving really quickly, which is nice. We got to the end pretty quickly of this chapter, but he's shot off the ground again, and he's shot into the barrier that you kind of see in the wider shots. And it turns out that the barrier is like electromagnetic. It's like it's an electric fence, essentially.
Yeah, and it's like it's at the exact voltage to like temporarily paralyze a human.
Yep, exactly. So basically the thought is hit him into the barrier and then like get him in a place where he can be hit or restrained somehow. And that is what BJ does, along with a very terrible sewing pun. Sir.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
BJ.
it's not the time. So as he's like paralyzed in that moment, BJ tries to restrain him. And while he's like got his denim ropes around him, I guess he's like slammed into the ground just because it's a long drawn out fight. We've got to get as much damage in as we can. So, and in that moment, BJ is like, even someone who's superhuman or not quite human, or like beyond the usual human, is like, even if you're all of that, you still have muscles. So we're still going to keep shocking you. And until the fight is playing out, whatever. This is like
it makes sense.
Short term. Yeah. So as he's talking and as Shigaraki is talking, they're basically like they're showing the audience how the arena is working.
They're doing a ton of exposition.
Yeah, which is fine, because I mean, nobody died in this chapter, which is like only thing I go into this chapters worried about, knock on wood. Nobody dies ever.
Yep.
So as we go through, as we like basically turn the page as well, BJ and Shigaraki I don't even think they're talking to each other. They're just talking.
Yeah, they're both incredibly chatty and love hearing themselves talk. So
yep, exactly. And so you basically keep turning the page. There's a panel where you see the cobblestones have been decayed, obviously, and were shot up into the air to decay without like infecting the next cobblestone, essentially, is the plan. And you see underneath that, you see like the UA barrier mechanism is there. So you turn the page again, and it's like, this entire arena was constructed solely to be your coffin. Like,
yeah, very dramatic.
like, yes, but also no, sir, please. This is very tense. We don't need your performance. All right, so we turn the page and we get basically into the guts of the arena, and we get to see how it's being worked. First things you see are Power Loader and Cement Toss, who are basically like taking care of the mechanism and also creating more cement. That it's basically, I think it's going to be like, the more cement he creates, the harder the decay has to work, essentially.
Yeah, basically they're trying to like run out his quirk, I think.
Yes, exactly.
Because most quirks seem to have a time limit.
Exactly.
Although he also destroyed an entire city, so we'll see how that works.
Yeah, it's like they've done everything to try and hopefully prevent another whatever that city was called. Was it Jakku? Was it not Jakku? I don't have any idea, but also how dare Star Wars. Anyway. So you turn the page and we find out everyone who is in the undercarriage. And the first people you see are May and Momo.
Yay!
They're
I love that
doing-
they're friends now.
Yeah, they're friends and they're working together and they're like keeping the arena together. Like it is like their job to create and maintain the city. And also in the background, you have those two support characters that we met briefly a
Very
couple
briefly.
chapters ago, and they're awesome. We love them. And we also have Lunch Rush is there for some reason. It's not exactly clear what Lunch Rush is making, but he is there because he has a create adjacent quirk. So he's
Yep.
making stuff. All right. And then basically it is all just exposition. You keep turning the page to find out everything they've done to contain Shigaraki. So they studied the past two battles after his awakening, the one where he fought Izuku and then the one where he fought, rest in peace, Star and Stripe.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep turning the page and they've like basically made this arena as it is thanks to the genius of a 16-year-old girl, Nei Hatsune.
Yes!
And she's
It's
like,
all May's idea.
yeah, it is all her idea and it's perfect. And she's like, also make it fly. And they're like, and they were like floored, like, oh my God, this is perfect. And then
Yes.
it goes into how they had to like build and power this while
Mhm.
Japan was essentially like in ruins. Like there's no
Yeah.
bureaucracy to work with. So they took Nezu's like UA barrier thing that was already kind of in place before the
I
economy
was
tumbled.
wondering when that was going to come up because I was like, you set all that up, but then you left UA. Like, what the hell?
Yep.
So,
And we didn't leave UA. So here we are. This is what they've been working on. And then Momo has the comment of the remaining problems were due to the ravaged economy. Like, honey, now is not the time to talk about it. But
yeah.
yes, essentially the problems were they had this plan, but they didn't have the resources or really the manpower to build it by traditional means. So
Mhm.
that's why they brought in Cementos and Power Loader and a bunch of Ectoplasm's clones to basically build this as quickly as possible. And then once it was built, it had to be powered. And you turn the page and it's all the electric type quirks, including Denki. He's doing so good.
Danky.
Oh,
He's so proud of himself.
yeah.
I love him.
He is like, he's just completely unloading all of his electricity along with Manga Fukidashi, who's one of the 1B students. His quirk is a little interesting. We don't really see how exactly it works, but it looks like he has created a word in Japanese kanji and it's translated as boom. So it looks like he has made a word that
Produces electricity?
yeah. Which is like, excuse me, why isn't this man like the top of the class? Obviously,
Right?
he has the most flexible quirk.
Maybe his thinking
Anyway,
isn't very flexible.
what?
I said maybe his thinking isn't very flexible. But that's okay. You're 15. You'll get better.
Your brain will develop as long as you don't die.
Yes.
All right. And then there are also two other folks there. It looks like one of them is Nejire's friend / girlfriend, but it's not exactly clear. And
oh shit, maybe. I hope
Yeah.
so. That's you know what? Canon.
yeah, definitely. I will double check when we're done recording, but that's just who it looked like to me. And then there's one other person who I just completely do not recognize. It's fine. But it looks like in the mechanism, they have a bunch of like electric or energy-based people powering the city, which is great. And Denki is just having a
The
wonderful
time of
time.
his life.
Yep. All right. And then you turn the page and the like battle kind of really starts. This is now that we have the arena like figured out, the battle actually starts. So
Mhm.
the heroes go towards him and then Shiggy talks again, and instead of it being like in the regular font at the beginning of the chapter, this font is more reminiscent of like the kind of font you use when things aren't quite right in the brain. Like there's a specific font they use to indicate something's not quite right in the mind.
Yeah. They use it for Shiggy a lot.
Yes. And it's also not clear if it's like his new voice, like the one that's not so scratchy and nasally, or maybe he's reverted to his old voice. I don't think we're going to find out until
it's totally unclear, and we're not going to find out till the anime comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then you turn the page and Shigaraki's basically trying to disintegrate part of the arena that like the, I guess, energy comes out of, like one of the power poles or whatever. And then his quirk doesn't work because you turn the page and there's Monoma, Aizawa, and Manuel. Yes. Oh, I love them. And like Bakugo is like, ha ha ha, don't you remember what happened in Jakku? We repeated that because fuck you.
Yep. Also, Monoma's hair is floating, so it's absolutely 100% tied to the quirk. Yep. So do with that what you will, people who are into that.
Yep, exactly. Thank you for pointing that out because I didn't realize it. I thought he was just like dancing around so much because he's so fucking excited.
He also makes a pun.
Yep, he also now is not time for the puns, sir. Also.
Well, they might die any moment now. You got to get those puns in while you can.
Yes, got to get those puns in while you can. I do want to point out that it's Denki and Monoma having the time of their life. So if that is part of your ship within the like Shinso polycule, there you go. Have some fun with that.
Loud blondes.
Yep. Okay. Back to the actual battle happening. So we have Manuel there. We didn't know if Manuel was going to be in it or where he was going to be. We really didn't know what Manuel has been up to, but obviously they are repeating what worked in the first war / big battle, which is Manuel is essentially hydrating Monoma's eyes, like he hydrated Aizawa's eyes when it was Aizawa versus Shigaraki. And they're like constantly touching, which like takes away the like limit, the time limit for
Monoma's 5-minute time limit.
Yeah, but why aren't they just like holding hands? Like I feel like that it's almost like a brushing touch could be broken at any minute. Just hold hands. It's fine. Your masculinity is not
grasp an arm or something.
Yep. All right. And then we go to Aizawa. He's got like a very intense panel glaring.
It's pretty sexy.
It is pretty sexy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's like directly paired with Shigaraki's, again, eyeless stare. So there's that. And then you turn the page and basically like all the factors are in place that they had planned for. The plan worked perfectly, except for the fact that Midoriya isn't here. So whatever Midoriya was going to do, I'm thinking he was just going to completely overpower Shigaraki because he is now so well trained. But basically they are fighting him while trying to figure out where Izuku is.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next panel is not fun. Yep.
And I hate it.
It is his Shigaraki's hand is like what is it? It's like splicing itself and growing. Yes. So basically he has this gross arm hand that is like all fingers. And
it's so bad.
It's so bad. I do want to mention it is a callback to another manga or anime that Horikoshi likes. I do not know the name of the anime, but people have pointed out it is definitely a callback to another body horror anime. Yeah, so I will try and find that too. No promises. But as his fingers are splicing and multiplying, gross, Mirko, Bakugo, and Aizawa are like, what the fuck is that? We don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan.
We do know that there are some quirks that Aizawa can't erase for whatever reason. I don't know if this is one of those or something like that.
Yeah, and because it is just like a physical quirk, it seems to be some sort of heteromorphic quirk.
Yeah.
can't be erased. I said heteromorphic twerk again. So much is happening, y'all. So as they're like all doing the oh shit, what the fuck moment, the very last panel that Fern told me they hated before I got to it. So I was like, oh boy, somebody died. But it's okay, nobody died. It is just a bunch of fingers coming at the reader.
A bunch of fingers. And they're growing out of each other in very strange ways. And some of them are like layered on it. It's like a bunch of fingers like grouped into one like Frankenfinger.
Yep. And Fern hates it. Surprisingly, I don't mind it. I think it's supposed to be body horror, but to me, it's just science, I guess. I don't mind it. It's gross, but it's not
very body horror.
It's not squeaking me out like it is for Fern. And then the chapter ends. It's back to the like weird font. And now Shigaraki apparently, well, one, he has his eyes back, which interesting. We still don't know what that actually means or what's going on in his head.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the font choices and like eye thing are like indications of when Shiggy resurfaces.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, but there's like no confirmation because even when he was Shigafo versus Star and Stripe, it was still a little hard to tell who is who. But I agree. I think it is Shigaraki himself emerging from AFO's like mind meld that is dominant over Shigaraki.
Yeah.
And basically he says, I used to think you were so cool, Eraserhead, but now I don't. It's like, sir, fuck you. Just because his strategy is working and just because you literally disabled him to take away his quirk, you don't get to be rude about the fact that he like accommodated the battle because you disabled him. Sir, fuck you, Shigaraki. I still hate you.
He's Shiggy gonna be Shiggy.
Yep. He's just determined to make me not like him ever. But the chapter ends there. And like we kind of mentioned before, the next however many chapters are probably just going to jump either from battle to battle or battle step to battle step. And that has officially started. We still don't know what the heteromorphs are doing. And we have no idea what's going on the other battles. So when the new chapter, we are clueless. It's bad, but it's okay. Nobody's dead yet. Knock on wood again. So the app does say the new chapter comes out again in 7 days. Awesome. So we will see if this battle continues or if we jump to another one.
Give me Toga.
Yes,
I need to know.
Well, I think what's going to happen is we're going to start a couple of the battles. We're going to get a couple chapters each, just as everything starts. And then whatever's going on with Toga is probably going to be resolved first because we have to figure out like Izuku's placement.
Featured last but resolved first. That makes sense.
Yeah, and because like Izuku's presence at these battles is going to be the determining factor, either against AFO or against Shiggy, if in fact my theory / wonder of if Bakugo is going to beat Shigaraki or at least get him under submission comes true. We'll see. So we will see. That's it. That's all we got. A very straightforward chapter after last week's nearly hour long. Did I miss anything? Did you have anything?
I think that's all my thoughts.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it, I guess.
Thank you everyone for listening. Catch us next week. And in the meantime, go beyond plus ultra and catch the fuck up. Bye, y'all.
Bye.